Major support for Out to Lunch is provided by the law firm of Jones Walker, established in 1937 with over 375 attorneys and offices throughout the U.S., providing a comprehensive range of services to a local, national, and international client base. JonesWalker.com. And by Luba Workers Comp, a regional insurance carrier dedicated to providing reliable workers' compensation coverage to employers and workers in 13 states across the Southeast. With personalized service, trusted expertise, and tailored solutions, Luba helps businesses protect what matters most. Discover more at lubawc.com. And by JP Morgan Chase, a partner in financial planning. Looking ahead to retirement, growing your business, or for commercial banking, JP Morgan Chase offers advice and solutions tailored to individual needs and client well-being. More information is at jpmorganchase.com.
From Mansers on the Boulevard, on Corporate Boulevard in Baton Rouge, we're Out to Lunch with Oscar Tickle, investigative documentarian and owner of Advolution Productions. It's business, Baton Rouge style.
Hi, I'm Oscar Tickle. Welcome to Out to Lunch. Food is culture, it's memory and identity, but turning tradition into innovation takes more than a good recipe. It takes creativity, grit, and a deep understanding of what people crave. My guest today, Yvette Bonanno, knows that well. She grew up in the Baton Rouge restaurant scene, and that early exposure sparked a lifelong love for food. Today, she's combining that experience with cutting-edge food production as the founder of Crave-a-ball, a Baton Rouge-based company turning classic Louisiana dishes into handheld, deep-fried, ready-to-serve balls. Yvette's aiming to build Crave-a-ball into the next great Louisiana food brand. Yvette, welcome to Out to Lunch.
Thanks for having me.
In business, longevity is no accident. It's the result of resilience, reinvention, and often a strong sense of purpose passed from one generation to the next. My guest today, Darren Pizzolatto, grew up in the heart of a legacy, Tony's Seafood. Darren was born into the business, literally, and has never worked anywhere else. Over the years, he and his family expanded Tony's Seafood into one of the largest seafood markets in the region, known for its live catfish and award-winning boiled crawfish. Darren's family was also the driving force behind the launch of Louisiana Fish Fry, a brand that went on to become a national staple before the family sold it in 2018. Today, he's helping shape the next chapter of that legacy in collaboration with Yvette's company, Crave-a-ball. Darren, welcome to Out to Lunch.
Appreciate you having me today.
Yvette, Louisianians are no stranger to the Boudin ball. People here have specific ways they like them cooked and places where they like to get them from. Yet here you are trying to get your footing in the Boudin ball world by innovating them, not just in a way that they are made, but in the flavors they deliver. And your company has a very intricate process behind developing flavors and mixes. Each one has to be approved by the FDA. Can you guide us through that process?
Well, I'll tell you, I can't take any credit for the Boudin ball. I came into the Boudin ball because of Tony Pizzolatto, who started making boudin in the deli at Tony's Seafood in the late 70s and 80s. And it took him and the family a long time to perfect it. A lot of it has to do with the seasonings that go into making the boudin, which is a highly coveted secret.
Yeah.
And Darren will tell you.
Hopefully not the secret.
No, not the secret.
Very
but
well protected.
I like I said, I'm a chef by trade, but I take zero credit on the Boudin ball. What we have taken that recipe and we have stayed true to the way that Tony Pizzolatto wanted 100% Boston butts, which means that we don't use any lower cuts of pork. We don't use any fillers. And our rice is cooked perfectly in a method, and our proportion to meat to rice, our vegetables are all fresh, but it's the seasoning and the expertise that Louisiana Fish Fry developed that has made our product so successful. The other thing too is we have machinery that has amped up the product, and we're very proud of it. And we have a great culture, we have a great team, but we would not be where we are with this product if it was not for Tony Pizzolatto, the Pizzolatto family, Louisiana Fish Fry. It just would not have come to fruition.
So what about the new flavors? What goes into?
And I will tell you, so the new flavor, for me, it was like, the customer came and said, we want the Boudin stuff with pepper jack, which people are doing that by hand, the larger version. Ours are a 1 ounce ball, which again, the machine allows us to do that. So I said, well, we can stuff crawfish etouffee, but again, relying on that knowledge from Louisiana Fish Fry. We can do red beans and rice. We can do liquefied spinach and artichoke dip. We can do grits with pimento cheese. And then we're also making kibbeh, which is the Greek Lebanese football-shaped appetizer that is growing and wildly successful for us right now. So,
Awesome. Darren, you spent your life helping build Tony's Seafood into one of the most iconic seafood markets in the state. I'm sure you've run into plenty of hurdles along the way. In recent years have been some of the worst for foods like crawfish because of changing weather patterns, droughts, you name it. What does it take to maintain consistency in products that are so seasonal and unpredictable?
We are seasonal, so that does kind of help, though. So if you do have a bad crawfish season like we had last year, everybody was aware of the drought and the heat that we had, and it was the worst crawfish season we had since we've been in business. But you turn it around and look at it this year, 1 year later, we're having one of the best. So it kind of helped in a way, but it is Mother Nature. It's not something that you order out of a catalog. That's how most of our products are. But we have plenty of other products that keep us going throughout the year. We have plenty of different types of fish that we carry. Shrimp is annual, year-round, so you don't have to worry about shrimp. We have live catfish in our store where you can actually, they come in from trucks from Mississippi. Somebody can actually come in, pick, kind of like a butcher shop, pick out a catfish. We can cut it, fillet it, dress it however they like. So this live catfish on one end, and on the other end of the store, we have the cooked product. So swimming on one end, fried on the other end. So but we're versatile. We got different products. Crab season will be right when crawfish starts to end around June or July. Crabs will start coming in. So we have many different products that keep us going during the year.
Now, Louisiana has passed laws to ensure that seafood companies that import their food disclose that to customers. What's your take on the seafood climate right now as a company that sources locally?
We try to stay all local. If I have to say, we're probably 95% local. There is some things that you have to import. You just don't have a choice. It's part of it. But we do have everything labeled. We have our menus labeled. We have our menu boards labeled. We have signage in the store letting people know if it is an imported product. But for the most part, we try to stay local and everything.
Awesome. Now, how are you making sure that Crave-a-ball is set apart from your typical Boudin ball company, like, I don't know, Billy's or something?
well, we truly wanted to create products that they're meant for the food service industry, which means that to take labor out of one item off of a prep list, I kind of say for a caterer or a hotel, for a restaurant, and then to take that ball and maybe make it their own. We had one customer that took the shrimp and grit ball and put a barbecued shrimp on top. Another one took some pulled pork with a tasso cream over the top. So some of these chefs will send me their inspirations and how they're using their creativity with our products. But yeah, I had a catering company for 10 years, and I wish there would have been a product like this around. But we don't want to make products that anyone else is anyone else is making. We honestly were never even planning to release our plain Boudin ball, but we went to market with that pepper jack ball, and they were like, "This is great. Now you have to release the plain Boudin ball." So it was not it was an accident almost. So our pepper jack Boudin ball, because it's stuffed, it's not shredded pepper jack cheese that is in the ball. It's an experience, and so that's special, and it truly, again, when you do quality and you, it comes out in the end. And he's serving us some of the balls right now, and you're kind of getting excited. And so I know Darren has tried all of these balls, so this is
multiple times.
And I will tell you, the only place you can buy the balls retail is at Tony's Seafood, and the meat, all of the protein balls are under the USDA, which means federal government is in our processing plant, temperatured at 40 degrees, and where we're producing. The other balls do fall under the Department of Health and Hospital, which is the FDA. But yeah, if you want to try some balls.
Absolutely.
And Darren, I mean, you've tried all of them. Which one
Every
is
one
your
of them
favorite?
many times. I lean to the pepper jack.
Yeah.
That's my favorite one, but I like the red bean. I like them all.
Darren, I wanted to ask you, what is your day-to-day like at Tony's? I know you have
Organized chaos.
yeah.
It's exactly what I
I know
call it.
you're leaving this podcast and going straight to
I'm
Tony's.
going straight there. This is our big time of the year, and it's a busy time. We're busy year round, but this 90 to 120 days is really, it'll test you. It really is, but it's a good problem to have. I mean, we go through a large volume of crawfish. Right now, you can get crawfish. It's changed in the last couple of years. You can get crawfish on any corner. Every grocery store's got it. There's a couple of stands pops up here and there where it used to be just seafood markets. So, we got to push our quality, which is the main thing. That's what keeps us going. My grandfather always said, if you have what they want, you have good service, you keep them coming back. So we're really, really big on our quality of crawfish. We're very picky.
Well, I think just to your point, Darren, because of course I've been behind the scenes, and not only do they have the source, but it's also from the cleaning to the carrying
It's
to
everything.
it's the quality, it's the steps, and it's the reason that people will make that trip to Tony's, that just makes their products the best. So it's really a volume situation.
It's a lot of volume. We go through a lot of bugs, a lot of people.
No, you ship yours, right?
So we sell to distributors that sell to food service. So if you want them shipped, you have to go to Tony's, and they will ship them.
We can ship them.
Yes.
How do you guys go about? You're doing them frozen?
Yes, everything. Yeah, the balls come up.
Yeah.
We have had requests for them to be fried cold, so we can do that if people request, but the majority of it is frozen. Goes out frozen in the packages for them to fry at home.
You used to work at Tony's?
No. So I've
No?
known the Pizzolato family since I was a child, and just grew up in the restaurant business here in Baton Rouge. And it's just been great to work with people that they're truly humbled in what they do, and they're very hardworking people, and they understand the business. And it's the running joke around our facilities. They call me I need a, and they never told me no. So I'm just like, I've got a great idea for a ball. This is what I think would work, and they've taught me a tremendous amount. I mean, I've been a chef for 35 years, and so my knowledge I share with them, and vice versa. So yes, we're all helping one another. So it's and it's a passion too. We all love what we do, so it kind of comes through.
And your balls are made with pretty proprietary technology, right? Like,
Yes.
if I or someone, were to come in and try to film, they could not film the actual intricacies of the machine.
I will tell you, you're getting ready to try the etouffee ball. This ball, particular for me, we again relied on the Louisiana Fish Fry, but we manipulated the recipe. A lot of these balls took anywhere from 9 months to 12 months to develop with our machine, with the processing through the USDA. So it was a lot of work and time that have gone into it, and we look forward to creating more. We always, when I go in and see a customer, they're always like, "I've got a great idea for a ball." I'm like, I wish it was that easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot goes into making sure that the ball doesn't fall apart when it's fried.
Yes, and I mean, Tony's Seafood, you guys make millions of balls a year.
Plenty.
So yeah, it's
Yeah. It is a process. This much more. Well, people can't say this much more water, and you got a hash brown instead of a Boudin ball when it hits the grease. So yeah, it is. You have to follow them recipes pretty close.
You're listening to Out to Lunch. I'm Oscar Tickle. I'm talking with Yvette Bonanno, founder of Crave-a-ball, an innovative food production company building on the classic, and Darren Pizzolato with Tony's Seafood, a decades-old seafood company focused on tradition and quality. Darren? Now, let's talk about the origins of Tony's Seafood. So it started out, well, obviously it wasn't Tony's Seafood at the time, but
It was Fruit and Stuff.
Yeah,
It was
Fruit and Stuff. That's what the name was.
My grandfather came to Baton Rouge in 1959, and he was in the produce business. And he he had 5 boys and 1 girl. Some of them couldn't even drive at the time. He would just go put them out on the streets, selling cantaloupes, tomatoes, watermelons, whatever it took. And he started selling shrimp in the late 70s, maybe. I think it was late 70s. Putting a shrimp on the truck, and the shrimp started out selling the produce. That's when we turned it into Fruit and Stuff Seafood. and then eventually became Tony's. And so Tony's started, I want to say it was probably late 70s when we changed it to Tony's Seafood. And my grandfather was working, day and night at the time with the young boys, and had a heart attack in the early 80s. And he was a chef in the Navy back in the day. And while he couldn't work as much at home, he started piddling with the seasonings, and that's when he invented Louisiana Fish Fry. So it was actually, at the time, it was Tony's Fish Fry. And he would just give it out as samples in the store, and people started wanting more and more of it, and he was lucky enough to grab the name Louisiana. So Louisiana Fish Fry, he officially opened that in 1982. We got that open as a business, and we kept it until 2018. But it became the number one seafood in America. I'm sorry, number one fish fry in America until the time we sold it.
Now, you operate out of a pretty big facility right now, don't you?
Large for a seafood market, yeah. It is good size. I don't think there's really no more markets around. Everything's, like I said earlier, is going to the grocery stores. You can get everything, your one-stop shop, all your shrimp, your fish, your crawfish, anything that you want at the grocery store. So there's not really many markets around, but we are on the larger side of a market, if you would consider, yes.
How many square feet do you think?
Just in the serving area, we have about 30,000 square feet total, but servings in the store is about 6,000 square foot inside the store.
And Yvette, you operate off of Florida Boulevard, if I remember right.
Correct. We took the actually the old Cadare's building and we repurposed it. We've now doubled it in size and getting ready to add on again.
Bought my first TV there.
Yeah.
I really did.
Well, people walk in there like, wasn't this a shoe station? I'm like, you could have bought shoes and you could have bought cameras, but you can only imagine going from a retail establishment to what we had to do to have a commercial kitchen and everything that has gone into it. But yeah, we love the space. The location is great. I always have to say that we would not be where we are so quickly if we would not have had the help of, or the knowledge and the Rolodex and the contacts and distributors, if it wasn't for, Pizzolata, Louisiana Fish Fry, and it just opens up the door of saying, hey, we've done this before, we're going to do it again, and so it's just, it's been invaluable to be where we are 3 years in the making. So, yeah, it's a good place to be.
Now, back to that space. How long have you been there?
Tad Pizzolata bought the building in 2015, and it was only intended on being like a test kitchen. And so we started renovations right after COVID in 2020, and then opened it in 2021. So first balls started rolling out in 2022. So yeah, we're an infant company. But we have distribution now because we are co-packing and partnering in Texas, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, and of course Louisiana. So it takes time. You have to find the customers, then the distributors. Darren knows it very well.
Yeah, very well.
It's a dance. But people are like, where can I get your balls? Because we don't know where once they go into food service, into outlets, we don't know where they're going. So I just say, Tony Seafood.
They're looking for them. People are asking for them. So.
Now, in the years to come, are you looking at expanding into a bigger facility?
Right now we're looking to. We just purchased another machine. We're looking to do a dessert line. We know that the market is, but an inside out. Again, we don't want to make a cake ball. So we want to make things that no one else is making. We want to use the innovation to our advantage. So we're going to develop things that are. That excites people. Yes, when we start doing dessert balls, Darren, I'll call you.
I'll be your tester for that. Trust me.
Yes.
Darren, what kind of dessert ball would you want to see?
Anything chocolate.
Anything chocolate?
I'm a chocolate freak.
Tell me there's chocolate.
Well, we did do a dark chocolate cake stuffed with blackberry frosting. Oh. So it's an inside-out version of yes.
And this is even a surprise to me. It's the first I'm hearing of this.
Yeah,
so
bananas Foster,
dessert
use your imagination, praline, yes.
I want to ask you, so growing up, did you ever think, hey, I want to work somewhere else? Like, this isn't what I want to do?
Very rare, but it's only, you got to realize when you put the family aspect in it, it's tough. Mm-hmm. It's awesome working with your family, but it's both ends of the spectrum. I mean, family business is tough. You got personal interest in it. And you got, no, I've never thought about working anywhere else. I'll be there as long as we can keep it going.
Let's talk about the cooked side of the building, right? What is offered on the cooked side?
On the cook side, on the deli line, we probably have over 25 different. We have a full line deli, what I would call people would recognize like a Piccadilly line. So you walk down the line, you pick out your plate anywhere from red beans and rice, etouffees, gumbos. We have a full vegetable line. Then on the back end, we have also another whole full section, which we call production, which is all your fried seafood boxes. We have boxes, we have po' boys, we have hamburgers. So we have party trays. We do just about anything. Do a large volume of food that goes through that deli.
And do you guys have your own secret way of doing boiling crawfish?
Of course.
Yeah, everybody's got their own secret way.
Can't talk about that too much. You know, we do things there that are different than what people do at home, obviously, because I mean it's a mass production. We do use steam. We don't use open fire. We started with open fire years ago, and we changed it over to steam. So that's about one thing that I can tell you, but a little different than what people do at home, the way that our boiling process is.
And those crawfish, do you have a dedicated farm you're getting those from?
We get them all different places. They come out of Mamou, Crowley. They come from Bell River. The spillway will come from Bell River, which is starting up pretty soon. We go to Crowley. So we have people that bring them to us, and then we also have a couple trucks on the road each day that pick up crawfish every day. And like I said, we're very selective. So the ones that come to us, I'll give you an example, that truck could have, I want to say anywhere from 100, 150 sacks. Sometimes we'll unload the whole truck and maybe get 30. So we're very selective on our crawfish. My dad still touches just about every sack that comes in that building.
What does he look for in a sack?
Size. You can tell. Size and color.
Yeah.
It makes a difference. Like I said, that's the only thing that can keep us different from everybody else is our quality. So we try to keep it up.
For someone who's eating crawfish, there's a lot of things I'm told to look for. What are some things to look for to like, hey, don't eat this crawfish?
There's a myth that people say straight tails. Straight tails are dead crawfish. It's true in a way. You got to realize we're boiling 450 to 500 pounds at a time. So when the crawfish come off the belt, the ones at the bottom of the middle, however they hit that water, if they're straight, they're dead. But if you grab a crawfish and there's a straight tail and it's really like flimsy, light, it probably was dead before it was cooked. But I can tell you out of Tony's, you're probably very rarely going to get a dead crawfish. We have a huge conveyor belt that anywhere from 2 to 4 people sit on that are picking out the dead crawfish every day before they hit the basket. So
now, Yvette, let's talk about running the business side of things. Did you have any background in business?
So I went to culinary school, Johnson & Wales, and again, my parents own and operate many restaurants, so kind of grew up in the business, and then owning my own restaurant, 2 restaurants and a catering company. We had the distillery downtown, Caneland. It was 3 Roll, now it's Oxbow. So I was doing packaged food, praline rum cakes, spiced rum pecans, which I still produce on a very small level. But that's when Tad called me and said, hey, come work with us. And I was excited to get back into the business. And so I actually have one of my chefs that's worked with me for 35 years, still works at our place. His name's Nick Gyro, and he's kind of I'm the gas, he's the brakes. So when we're in the kitchen working together, developing, he's really someone I lean on heavily. And, you have to have a great team. I mean, Darren will tell you, you guys employ,
about 130 range.
Yeah,
right now.
so I mean, when you have that many people working with you, you have to rely on just your staff to make sure that everything's executed. So it's everything from ordering, sourcing materials, that goes into the finished product. It's just not doing the cooking and the creating of the product. I wish 100% of my time was behind the stove. That would, I hate to say, be great. But there's so much that goes into the business. So, but yeah.
Let's talk a little about this relationship. I mean, Tony's is the only place you can buy the balls in person, right?
Correct.
In a retail store, yes.
And that is because under the USDA, there's a ownership percentage that is required for us to sell direct to them, and they can do a sale of retail. When our balls go out to, say, other establishments, whether it's a grocery store, if they're repacking, we're not privileged to that information. But Tony's is the only one that has the ability to sell the products to the customers. So,
can you speak to that a little, Darren?
I can just tell you, I'm kind of glad that we're the sole one right now because they're all coming to us because it gets more people in the store. So they're coming there for Crave-a-ball. They might shop around and get other stuff too. So, but I can see I see people when they come in just say we may be out of one, and they come up there. Well, can we drive to the place and pick them up? So we've had that before, and I said no, we're the only retail outlet that has them right now. So we don't run out too much. They keep us pretty much fully stocked. So
Do you find you're getting more and more people coming?
yeah, I
in for
find
that?
people are finding out about it. Plus, my Uncle Tad has put a good bit of signs up in the store and around the parking lot. Say, I'm wondering if for Tony Seafood or Crave-a-ball sometimes.
I know.
But
I did. I'm going to tell you, Darren, I'm like, what have you done to poor Tony Seafood over there? I said, you're going to put one more sign up.
but I see them picking up. I really do. I can see the volume. I see the people are picking them up. And plus, we sell them fried in the deli also. So.
And y'all are doing the party platter trays, I think,
Yep.
during the holidays.
Holidays.
So, no, and for us, I'm just going to say, it's also been a great, a test market for us. We have kind of gone over to Tony's and brought some of the new product over there, and we call it kind of pressure testing. So I mean, if it can withstand Tony's and their quality and their line, then we know that it's going to be successful in other establishments. So we've been appreciative to have that as a resource for us as well. So it's very much a win-win.
You both clearly know a lot about food in Louisiana. Food has always been more than just fuel here. It's a connector, a tradition, and a way to bring people together. Once a tradition is started, it's easy to follow along and stick with it. Yvette and Darren, you both live in the past and present of food, implementing new techniques into your old recipes. From Tony Seafood, a Baton Rouge staple that has kept the community coming back for decades, to Crave-a-ball, a new venture that is pushing the boundaries of Boudin ball flavors. Both companies are adding to decade-old tradition. Thank you, Yvette and Darren, for sharing your stories and for all you're doing to keep Baton Rouge's food culture alive and thriving. And thank you both for joining me today on Out to Lunch.
Thanks
Appreciate
so
you having
much.
us. Thank you.
you.
Enjoyed it.
My guests today on Out to Lunch have been Yvette Bonanno, founder of Crave-a-ball, and Darren Pizzolato with Tony Seafood. We edited this show to fit into the time slot here on WRKF. You can hear our unedited conversation and find out more about Yvette's Boudin balls and Darren's seafood business by listening to the Out to Lunch Baton Rouge podcast. You can find and subscribe to the Out to Lunch Baton Rouge podcast on your podcast app and on our website, itsbatonrouge.la. If you want to know what we all look like, you can find photos from this show on itsbatonrouge.la and on our Out to Lunch Baton Rouge social media. These photos were taken by Ian Lito and Miranda Alvarez. You can find more of Ian and Miranda's photos at albolitomedia.com and at albolitomedia on all socials. Out to Lunch is a production of INO Broadcasting for itsbatonrouge.la and WRKF 89.3 FM. The producer of this show is Grant Morris. Our technical producer is Eric Merle. Our associate producers are Peter Raschuti and Ann Edelman. Our researcher is Holly Dutchman. Today's show was engineered by Dylan Babineau. With Stephanie Riegel, I'm Oscar Tickle. Thanks for joining me. With Stephanie Riegel, I'm Oscar Tickle. Thanks for joining me. I look forward to joining you again next week around the lunch table for more business Baton Rouge style on the next Out to Lunch.
Out to Lunch Baton Rouge is recorded live over lunch at Mansur's on the Boulevard in Baton Rouge. Mansur's is open for lunch daily 11 to 2, for dinner nightly, and for brunch on Saturdays and Sundays. Major support for Out to Lunch is provided by the law firm of Jones Walker, established in 1937 with over 375 attorneys and offices throughout the U.S., providing a comprehensive range of services to a local, national, and international client base. JonesWalker.com. And by Luba Workers' Comp, a regional insurance carrier dedicated to providing reliable workers' compensation coverage to employers and workers in 13 states across the Southeast. With personalized service, trusted expertise, and tailored solutions, Luba helps businesses protect what matters most. Discover more at lubawc.com. And by JP Morgan Chase, a partner in financial planning. Looking ahead to retirement, growing your business, or for commercial banking, JP Morgan Chase offers advice and solutions tailored to individual needs and client well-being. More information is at jpmorganchase.com. Mitchell Foreman wrote and performs all the music on Out to Lunch. You can hear Mitchell's music anywhere great jazz is sold or streamed, and at mitchellforeman.com.